and today we're going to be talking about Centra being charged by the SEC. So, as we all know, Centra has raised 33 to 32 million back in the day for their ICO. But because of all the marketing, especially with the Floyd Mayweather Instagram and what's that, DJ Khaled, okay, we have at the moment a very huge case on our hands. So the good thing is that SEC is clearing up the rats in the space. They created an office, they did all the hype marketing. Everyone was finding a solution. I think the community has to protect itself. This is how I kind of see it. If we are going to be able to progress in this space, we have to make sure that we have to eradicate the bad actors, and this is a community effort. If you allow a third party like SEC to kind of come in and kill itself, kind of clean this space up, then obviously we're always going to rely on a third party. So how do we self-regulate or at least protect each other within a community? I think it all boils down to a lot of investigative work, right? For example, Crypto Grinders very rarely talks or recommends about any kind of project unless we have met the team in the flesh. Now, that being said, it does not mean that whoever that is trying to scam us or try to buy our hearts, right, is going to be credible. Because in this space, we're going to always raise money over and over again. Also, it is not fair to say that just because this particular team does not have a track record, or this individual doesn't have a track record, it means that they are any less credible than other people, right? So what I'm just trying to say is that we have to be we have to do a lot of due diligence. Okay, it is not just between the white paper and website. Okay, it is more of just making sure that these guys are going to bind to whatever they say that they're going to deliver in the white paper. So a lot of the time, the marketing companies that are involved are just there to make the money, right? They're just there to make the money, but at the end of the day, they're not there to do the due diligence. So most of the time, what we kind of recommend for our ICO projects is that they make sure that they have a stamp of approval by a accredited or at least a law firm that is recognized in the space, okay? Secondly, we also want to make sure that there is accountability of the funds. Right now, no one is going to audit or at least audit the funds after they have raised the money for the ICO. They're just going to basically just say, okay, we're going to do whatever we're going to do, but we're not going to have to be transparent about it, because most of the time these are all shell companies that are planning to raise funds. They're not going to use the parent company, right? Because in the event that there's any issues, for example, like this Centra issue, right? They can just say, okay, I'm going to declare bankrupt. But if they're going to be found guilty of criminal charges, they're still going to go to jail, right? It's not just a simple declare bankrupt and then they get to run away with the money. So I'm kind of happy that this is happening, because it also warns ICOs or new projects coming into the space that you don't come and fuck around with the public, right? Also, the public cannot do much. Okay, if they believe in a project, they have every right to invest in it. That is the power. That is the power of social inclusion, or at least financial inclusion. You make the decision. But however, what if we are consistently having new money into the space? Am I right to say that new money is always looking for the latest opportunity? But if they're always looking for the latest opportunity, I think the information sources out there also have to be equally as credible. For example, there have been tweets, there have been Reddit posts that cause a lot of validity as well in a particular project. But how do we know as an individual, especially an individual, that this project is going to be credible, right? So we have to start following the right sources, right? Especially sources who have proven themselves over and over again. This is kind of what we have to do. Right, so that being said, I think with CG has formed also a market watch, and at the same time our Telegram group. We have been around ever since July of last year. People who know us in the space know that we are guys who always focus on building or at least representing projects that have solid MVPs, minimum viable product. We also want to make sure that these are credited dedicated to the project before we even open our mouths or even represent them. So with that being useful for yourself, especially with vetting projects that have prevented you from joining scams or at least projects that have turned scam, right? So all these things, I would like to hear more from you guys, and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to